So let's go over the project before we get to talk with them, and then we can ask them whatever questions we want. So for Roo Troop here, the mission of Roo Troop is to unite a community that is eager to build in Web3 and NFTs and provide them with the multiple facets of utility needed to succeed, carried out in a way that has tremendous benefit to the entire NFT economy. We have already and will continue to supply our troop with economic incentives, along with educational, employment, and entertainment opportunities. In any new market, there's always core resources missing in the early stages. The Web3 and NFT space is no different, and our team has noticed a significant gap in the market. With such a talented pool of community members ranging from Solidity developers to artists to marketing experts, you'd think there would be a way to connect these individuals with founders looking to build out teams. Well, there isn't, and that's what we're here to do. And we connect employers to employees. We're lifting up members of the troop by helping them monetize their true passions and allowing them to potentially escape the corporate world. Why a Roo Troop? Our team is community-driven with a community-forward focus, meaning you as the holder will always be heard and well represented. Because we're native to the space, we've had a ton of time to see what works and what doesn't. This is why our team is fully doxed, so as to be as transparent as possible. It's also why we're capping our supply at 5,500 and pricing the mints at 0.042 ETH, something accessible while still funding the project to achieve all of our initiatives. Your Roos will not only give you access to pick up paid positions, but also serve as your membership to a welcoming and driven troop of like-minded individuals, exclusive events, brand partnerships, and tokenomically epic utility, all while playing a part in saving a dwindling species that needs our help. We specifically chose the tree kangaroo as our theme for a few reasons, but the main one is because of how unheard of they are. Everybody on our team was shocked to hear these creatures exist, and we instantly fell in love with their story. We'll be educating our holders on all things tree Roo, but we'll also be ramping them up to be ethical project launching degens at the same time. By joining the Roo Troop, you get the best of everything because we're obsessed with putting on for our community. So for the trailer, let's check that out super quick too. Yo, Lance, what's up, what's up, what's up?
January 6th, 2022.
So there's a little bit of the background for it, and then a breakdown of some of the traits and all that kind of stuff with it. So for the roadmap, phase 1, launch and funding our community environment, OG plus pre-sale whitelist. No gas wars. Send honoraries for influencer relations. Introduce 3 1-of-1 Super Roos to auction. Fund community wallet with 40 ETH. Fund marketing wallet with 10 ETH. Rarity tools and OS verification. Protect the troop. Charitable donation number 1 for phase 2. So you like utility. Staking in deflationary utility tokens Roo and ROOLAH. Create NFTX vault. Deposit 30 Roos, then burn 10 Roo. Companionment using ROOLAH, Roo romps, and Roo's clues. Twitch events with live performances and giveaways. Gaming competitions with ETH prizes. Geocaching assignments. Scavenger hunts. For phase 3, Fine will give you even more perks. Roo merch giveaways, IRL events, exclusive brand partnerships, Kanga Academy, gated training with experts in various fields, discounted resources in the Alpha channel for Phase 4, continuous and long-term initiatives, paid bounties, Roo Troop job marketplace, stimulate the entire NFT economy, community-driven decisions and voting, cross-pollination with other NFT projects, priority access to future projects from the Roo Troop team, Roo Troop Launchpad, play to earn gaming, and more. Yo, hey, listen, we're not there just yet. Yo, we're not there just yet. Hold on, I gotta see when they want to pop on here. But yeah, okay, cool. So frequently asked questions, how many Roos in the collection? 5,500, 0.042 ETH. Roo Troop currently has all roadmap initiatives underway and more being worked on behind the scenes. Bounties are paid job opportunities to work in the Web3 and NFT space. Yeah, so this is one aspect that I think is actually pretty good. There's not too many options out there if you're like trying to hire within the space. I mean, obviously you can like put out tweets and that kind of jazz, but they're assisting with that aspect. So where do the bounties come from? There's heavy demand from project founders and business owners for talented community members to join their teams. Roo Troop is their bridge. And then there's the full team. So we'll ask them kind of about all that stuff. Yo, listen, they got a terms and conditions and then a class action waiver. Yo, sheesh. Talk about the big deals here. You know, no capper in the slapper. No capper in the slapper. And then you have also the ability to stake the Roos. So that's something that I want to kind of ask about because, I mean, with a lot of these things that are like the play to earn game aspect side of things, right? Like you know, how many of them do we have that have like games that are kind of like out now versus out in a little bit? Not to say that that's a bad thing by any means, but what does that kind of make for staking where for a project like Cosmic Labs, I know that they have the staking right now and really kind of one of the big purposes with that is you have the ability to mint other parts of their collection because you need like certain quantities of that staked asset, but then there's like not like a Uniswap pool or anything for it as of yet because I wanted to check through certain things. So it's always interesting when we see kind of like that side of things, if you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. Yo, good morning. How you doing, boss?
Good. How are you doing?
Yo, fantastic. Appreciate you taking the time today to come join us. I am just trying to get the Discord to work. It's been a little bit funky for me, so apologies on that front. I think the pop out just is broken. Guys, FYI, Discord pop out is broken, but we're still gonna full screen him here nonetheless and work with it. So you're Morgan, is that correct?
I am Morgan. My real name is Morgan Stone, so people online mainly call me Stone. Morgan works too. Whatever's good for you.
A little bit of everything. Right on. So we just kind of went over your website here about the Roo Troop, and I remember that before I made a post about like, hey, looking to potentially bring some people on for something for like employment, and you were like, yo, hey, we got you. Come check us out. We got all that going. So what's your project really all about?
Yeah. Thanks for that setup right there. So our main mission is to help bridge the gap in the market right now, where employees and employers have trouble on visibility on both sides and getting in touch with each other. So there's a ton of talent in the NFT space. You know, there are community members in basically every single project that you go to that are chomping at the bit, ready to work and, you know, escape their 9-to-5s. And on the other side of things, you have an immense amount of money-backed founders, VCs, teams that are looking to build out, project teams. And, more often than not, they need at least one role filled, and most of them need several roles filled. Right now, the lay of the land requires both sides to be networking like crazy, spending a ridiculous amount of time buying into projects and being active. Whereas there's not really any visibility when I know there's demand on each side. So our mission is to bridge that gap. We are building the first on-chain job marketplace with a focus on Web3 and NFT positions. In the meantime, before we start development on that, we have rolled out a bounty system that it lives in our server. And we're coming up on 100 jobs posted to the community.
Nice.
Yeah, and about 30 have been accepted, with the all-time high bounty being a 30 ETH bounty for a Solidity dev a couple weeks ago.
Holy sugar.
Yep.
That's well, okay. So let's stay on that topic for a second. Then we can kind of talk about the project as a whole. With that demand for the Solidity, can you talk about what that project was, or was it something that was super unique? And like how does it work kind of from behind the scenes? Because it's interesting, and I think a lot of people don't know the perspective of what it's like if you are involved with trying to create a project, running a project, and the various roles that you need to fill. And then on top of that, for specific skill sets within that, because sometimes it's not, hey, I just need a dev. It's, hey, I need a dev that can do this, that, and everything else.
For sure. So that 30 ETH bounty was just a standard Solidity dev bounty.
Okay.
Come code up our smart contract, work on the Web3 integration on our site, create a minting page, deal with the art generation, the hosting of all the metadata. It was just very standard Solidity dev work. But the thing is, Solidity devs are in high demand. And more often than not, they're in high demand from people who have no clue what Solidity dev work is and how efficient it is for these devs who've built up a portfolio to go into their pre-existing work, pull that, and throw it into a new contract. So yeah, it was really nothing fancy there. We are seeing, bounties of all sorts where some people come in and say, yeah, we need the smart contract, web integration, all that. But we also need, a token or 2 tokens set up in a dashboard and, tokenomics laid out for us. So there's definitely some stuff that gets more in depth. But the prices don't, it's funny, there's no real standard based on the work required. So as to say like what price they're getting. That 30 ETH bounty was for very standard Solidity dev work, whereas some of the more extensive and labor intensive dev jobs we get, are only given like 3 or 4 ETH. So
spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still something. And so, I mean, let's talk about why you kind of came up with this, right? Like we have, obviously a space that's growing and massive, and we definitely, like, it's a role to be filled. And to be honest, like back when I started streaming like about a year ago, like with NBA Top Shot, I was like, hey, like I think there's like a market for this, and there's not like a whole lot of content out there. What was kind of the thing that clicked for you of like, yeah, like I can absolutely pursue this because it's needed?
Yeah. So I had been working on a couple other projects before this, like none that were my own, just kind of helping people, advising, doing communications for them, and then position myself and, our team as project launch advisors, and then myself personally still doing marketing advisement and just kind of, typical project advisement. And so the common denominator in pretty much every single employer I was talking with was, hey, we need a mod, we need a dev, we need a community manager, we need something. And so, I started out by just utilizing my personal network of people that I've built up a relationship with over the past year in the space. And, was supplying them with a lot of work, just sending them DMs saying, hey, I got this job opportunity, you want to come work for it? They pay this, and time commitments this. And, really utilizing my internal network. It got to a point where, there were just so many opportunities flowing in that I couldn't keep piling on work to my limited network. And so it was kind of a phase. That was the first phase. The second phase was Roo Troop Discord was already open at that point, and this was pre-launch. And so we already had 2,000 community members in there who we knew wanted to build in Web3 and wanted to be a part of this amazing ecosystem. So we started taking those opportunities and posting them in our Discord for our community members before we even had a project. as, hey, this is just utility by being in our server and, riding with us while we build this project. And so in doing so, we were able to place, I think, 10 or 11 people in jobs, paid roles before even launching Roo Troop. So, as it kind of developed, we were like, okay, there's a real need in the market for this. We've got the team that has the ability to carry out this mission and build this tool that doesn't exist in the ecosystem right now. So yeah, it was similar to your thought of seeing, Twitch streaming and seeing that there's a demand in the market and, a kind of opportunity to position yourself at a more efficient rate than a lot of industries or a lot of kind of niches. And we saw that gap. We're in a brand new market. In every single new market, no matter what industry you're in, there's going to be basic tools missing from that ecosystem. And this NFT Web3 ecosystem is no different. And right now, there's no easy way to find jobs and find work.
Yeah, and I mean, like, what do you think kind of like the outlook for it? And sorry, I know we're staying on like the job topic a whole lot, but I think for myself, it was like, hey, there's opportunities within here. Let's try to throw yourself out there and see what sticks. And obviously, it's worked for me, it's worked for you, and a lot of others are kind of thinking that exact same thing. And hearing this right now might be kind of the this might very well be a possibility for me over the next coming months for various skill sets, because you're talking about the Solidity dev side, but there's more to it, right? Like it's not just the coders. There's many other roles that are to be filled for it. So how do you kind of foresee the job sector opening up for the NFT space? And if you have, I don't know, maybe any like kind of pointers or things that you've noticed that employers are really looking for, can you just speak to that right quick?
For sure. So first I'll just kind of touch on all the positions that we've seen come through, because what you said is very true, that there's a misconception that in order to work in Web3 or NFTs, you have to be a developer of some sort. And, I'll affirm the thought that Solidity Dev is the #1 most sought after role that we see come through our server. It's hands down by far. But the fact that you need to be a dev to make it in this space is just wrong. We see community manager positions. I'm going to say some dev positions as well, but community manager, Solidity dev, website dev, marketing advisor, project manager, social media manager, graphic designer, internal auditor, animator, game developer, personal assistant, content curator, artist, Discord dev, lawyer, accountant, mod, memer, promoter, influencer, medium writer, video producer, music producer, therapist, and market researcher. We've seen all of those roles come through the server so far. And the most prominent is by far Solidity Dev. Second would probably be mods, like Discord mods. And third is community manager. So all three of those roles require very different skills and can pretty much encompass, a big portion of Web 2 jobs and Web 2 individuals that want to transition into this space. And so, somebody in the chat right now saying, "Can I get a meme job?"
Yo, Dolly.
You can. I think we placed 3 or 4 memer roles, and these people are all getting between 0.1 and 1 ETH to just cook up some memes, and it's needed. Projects are realizing the weight of meme marketing. They're seeing successful projects come out with dedicated memers on their team, and they're following suit. They're hiring. So that thought is a total misconception. I just want to be very clear that there's a spot for everybody in this space.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's fun. It's fun to see, because I think that we're going to see more and more people kind of making that leap within the sector, and further legitimizing things. And especially with that executive order, a lot of people were, "Oh my God, what's going to happen?" And it turns out that if anything, it sounds like it's almost bullish, like significantly bullish for the entire crypto space, at least for the short term avenue here, and legitimizing the digital asset space. So for you guys with the Roo Troop, you're doing this job board activation type aspect, but then also when you're checking it out, it sounds like you guys are also wanting to do a game as well.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of give you the context there, which is that Roo Troop was built in a very unique way. It was built in the public eye from the ground up. I'm a community member. I've been a trader in the NFT space for over a year. and had no intention on starting a project until something happened. And I was like, okay, I've got this community. Let's put on for them and make something for them. So we came out the gates with our roadmap saying, you know, we're going to have a P2E game at the very end. If you read through our white paper, we talk about this in a little bit more detail, which is that it's not part of our core initiatives by any means. It is not something that we are focusing on in the short or even medium or long term. Our goal, our core initiatives are education, supplying a lot of value to our core community and the job marketplace. If we get past all of those initiatives, we check all of them off, and the community wants a P2E game to be able to use their roos in the metaverse and actually earn one of our two or maybe a new ERC20 currency, then we'll do it. We'll absolutely do it. But where our priorities lie are in the main initiatives, which are the education and the job marketplace. And so that's something that's really cool about the troop is they all understand that. They see that on the roadmap. And when people come in and ask about P2E, they're like, oh yeah, that's something like we might get to down the line, but you know, we're knocking off all these other things first. And so we put that there just to kind of show to the community like, hey, this is what we were thinking initially when we came into this project. But as we developed it with all of you, it turned into something different. So here's basically what a game would look like because we have mapped it out. And here it is on the white paper for you to see in the future if you want to come back to and say like, hey, let's start up a game. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I like it. Now, you guys also kind of have a breakdown here on the roadmap where you have like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then phase 4. Are you beyond phase 1 right now, or are you still at that phase?
yeah, so we're kind of in every phase.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've been launched for about 8 weeks now. And I'll just kind of run through this. So the honoraries are all out. The first of the 3 super roos has been auctioned off. The wallets have been funded. Rarity tools is all good. OS verification, we know how that goes. Nothing we can do there. We just sent out our first big donation last week. And if you go check our most recent tweet on Roo Troop, you'll see the recap from Rainforest Rescue in Australia talking about where that money went. Staking and both of the utility tokens came out about 2.5 weeks after launch. The NFTX vault is up and flourishing. The companion mint is coming next week. We've already had several events. We've had a geocaching event. We've had a scavenger hunt. You know, the geocaching event literally made somebody end up at the Santa Monica Pier to scan a QR code and get some prizes. You know, we've done several Twitch events. We haven't gotten to the gaming competition. Oh, actually, yeah, we have. It wasn't a Roo Troop event, but we got invited. Merch is in development. Giveaways are happening multiple times a week. The first real life event is in process being, actually, the first 2 are in process of being planned. There's some alpha here. Brand partnerships are in talks. Kang Academy's up and running. You know, we just pushed out edition number 2 this past week. The alpha channel's running. We've got a partnership with Llamaverse and NFT Llama for his alpha to flow through the Roo server. Bounties are flowing. The marketplace is about to start being developed on April 1st. And yeah, I mean, we've literally got everything going right now. So, you know, not really following the phases, just kind of saying here, you know, we mapped out the phases in stuff that related to each other and was to be an easily digestible piece of content for the community to see and understand what we were going to do, not necessarily in the order that we were going to do it.
Okay. How many people do you have on your team?
There are 7 of us on the
Bro,
team.
you could have just said you, and we would have laughed, and it would have been a meme, and it would have been great. And you say, "I'm just the one-hit wonder. I am Morgan, and I am the king." But no. This guy goes straight to telling the truth. Sheesh. All right, fair enough. So you guys got 7 different people, and I mean, how did you guys end up finding those people? Was it somebody that you knew IRL? Was it people that you potentially grew up through this whole NFT crypto era, and you thought you just kind of like worked together?
Yeah, so this I'm telling you, like, it's gonna sound made up, but literally everything ties into why this mission works so perfectly. And I'll just give you some context here, which is that before Roo Troop started, I took over communications as like the community manager for a different project. And I was in charge of hiring a team for myself. So I hired a project manager named John. I hired a team of mods. There was a Discord developer who approached me and was like, "Hey, I've got all these bots set up for the project. Like, do you want to implement them?" There was somebody who came to us and said, "Hey, we made a way better website. Like, can we use this?" And so basically, I hired the mods and I hired the project manager. And, I didn't get any authorization to pay them from the founders of the other team. They were just saying, nope, we don't want to reinvest any money into the project. Yeah, you can help bring them onto the team to help you with your role, but we're not funding it. And so the project manager and the mods were there. They were just contributing to the project, some real true Web3 shit going on. And so the bot guy did the same thing. He was like, okay, like I understand I can't get paid, but it would be nice to have a sales bot in here and Me6 and a verification bot, like all these other things. And the website guy was like, yeah, well, I'm not going to host it if I can't get paid for it. So unfortunately, no. And so what happened was we had a falling out with the founders like a week later, that resulted in us exiting and kind of veering off and saying, hey, we should start our own project now. And so the main discussions from that were happening between myself and John. We had spent the most time, the most sweat equity building up this other project. We built the roadmap together, put together plans. We're hiring all these people. And so we felt the biggest sense of responsibility for starting this next project. So he and I got connected there, but he and I had actually been in several other projects before. We just didn't know it, or I didn't know it at least. He said he knew me. I didn't know him. So we got connected there, never met. He's now my co-founder and COO of Roo Troop. Our dev, also some real, community-driven shit was when we exited that other project, I just put out a tweet like, hey, this is going on. I wrote out a whole thread. It was very dramatic in the space that
Oh,
day.
we love drama. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'll send you the thread and you can go back and get the context if you want.
Good.
I'm not going to dive into it here. But basically at the end of it, I said, if you're in this other project that we were part of and you're getting screwed over by this, like we're going to take care of you in some way, shape or form. And, just to jump ahead, we ended up giving out around 700 free mints to those people. But so point of saying that is I put out a tweet that day saying, hey, can any dev contact me for taking a snapshot? I have no fucking idea what that means or how to do it. I'm a marketing guy, like someone. And so this guy, Corey, reached out to me, and my whole thing is like being doxxed. Like we really want everybody to be doxxed, be really transparent. And so this guy, Corey, reaches out to me. He's got a Society of Whales PFP, which I'm a part of. And I was like, okay, cool. I realized we're in the same project. He's like, yo, I can take the snapshot for you. No problem. No charge. Just want to like help you out. So he helps me out, takes a snapshot. As we start to put together plans, John and I, over the next couple of days, we're like, okay, we definitely need a developer. We're going to start in like an actual PFP project. We need a smart contract. We need a site. We need Web3 integration. We need all this stuff. So I reached back out to this guy and was like, hey, man, like, do you want to be a part of this? Like, you obviously reached out and helped us a lot by taking that snapshot. And like, that was just out of the goodness of your heart. I don't know any other devs. Like, you seem like a smart guy. Would you be up for this? It's like, yeah, this seems like a cool opportunity. Like, I don't have any experience in NFT space yet, but I am, an actual software engineer in my real life. And, I'll dox to you, jump on a video call. Here's my full name, here's my social media. And I was like, obviously we don't have a budget for this. Would you be okay working with the intent of getting paid from Mint, whenever that time comes? And he's like, yep, absolutely. Like I understand why you're doing this and I believe in the vision. So let's do it. And so that's how we met Corey. And, thank God he's now our CTO, has ownership in the company. So does John. Because we did incorporate. We're treating this like a real business. And so, past that, I reached back out to the guy who made us the bots in the last project. I was like, yo, do you want to come set up our Discord and, set up all these bots and customize it, brand it? It's like, fuck yeah, I'll do it. Same terms, like just for, some of the proceeds of Mint. Reached out to the guy who made the website that I wasn't authorized to actually use. It's like, hey, now I'm starting my own project. Can you come do the website? Yep. let's do it. Here's the terms. Here's the cost. Put out a tweet saying we need an artist. This is basically the last thing. And then, funny enough, It's Okay to Cry. If you've heard of him, he's a famous rapper. His name's Gwen Stacy. It's Okay to Cry. He DM'd me, and we had been connected over Twitter for the last 4 years. And he DM'd me, first message in like 3 years, was like, "Hey, I don't know if you noticed, but like I opened up my own animation studio recently, like funded it with a couple $1 million. Like I've got all of these artists, blah blah blah. Like I would love to work on this project with you." And so artists came from Twitter. And so literally, I've never met any of these people. They all
Nice.
came with us from the other project or came from Twitter. And I forgot to mention, we hired the memer from the last project too. So there was a guy in our community who was just pumping out memes like instantly. Like if someone would buy in, we went viral in the space one night, and literally every influencer, celeb, DJ, producer was buying in, tweeting about it.
I
joining
feel
the
like I
Discord.
remember seeing that. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna send you the thread, and a lot of shit's gonna click for you after this. But so this guy Tauber was just in the community pumping out memes and really played a big part in why we were so successful in retaining all of those buys and the celebs. And so we reached out to him right away too, and was like, "Hey, whatever we're creating here, we want you to be a part of the core team, and we'll pay you to create all these memes for us, so we can come out the gates at launch with all this content." And he's like, "Yep, I'm in." So that's our team. We're literally all community driven, community derived, and never met each other. John and I are going to meet each other for the first time because we're hosting a panel together at NFT NYC.
Nice. I mean, for NFT NYC, were you at the last one by chance?
Mm-hmm. I was not.
I don't know if they're doing the same venue as last time, but the venue is rather small. But like New York, that was the first time that I ended up going to New York, and that's a whole nother beast. But that's awesome that you're able to meet them finally for it. I think that there's going to be a lot of those type things where for us, like talking about kind of like the past of the whole year, like for NFT NYC this past year, I was able to meet a whole bunch of people from the Discord that we've been talking and hanging out the whole time, and being able to have these in-person events. Like I'm curious, because you guys say that you're looking at potentially doing 2 of them. What do you think the long-term outlook for IRL events is across a lot of these projects? Because I think we went through a stage where obviously people were just saying, "Hey, we're going to do IRL events," but it was during the pandemic. So, kind of free pass that, that's probably not going to happen. But then now we're at a point where it almost feels like every project is saying they are going to do IRL events. So how do they stand out? Do you think that that's, these ones are even going to be really well attended, or it's only going to work for the collections that have like, a significant amount of holders overall?
Yeah, I think it comes back to, how in touch with the community a project founding team is. I think everybody can, create IRL meetups and events, but they need to be themed or structured in a way that makes sense for their communities, because they are so different. You go from our project to, Psychedelics Anon, and while we have a lot of the same community members, the vibe and kind of energy over there is completely different than what it is in Roo Troop. And so, I'll just speak on what we're doing, and this will be some alpha for everybody listening. Nobody's heard this yet, because I don't want to generalize for the entire space. So the first thing that we're looking at doing, which would potentially come before NYC, is setting up a rave, an event, not like a full scale festival, but a lineup of 4 or 5 DJs going for 5 or 6 hours at a location. And we're looking at around Southern California, because 65% of our community resides here. And we put out a poll that said around 240 people would show up to an event like this. So, obviously we can't expect all of those people to show, and, potentially expect more than that to show, whatever it might be. We don't have a tight rein on it yet. But the nice thing is, it's a club or an open area, and, booking DJs, producers who have weight with their names. So we're going to be attracting people from the outside as well. And so, I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty details of it yet, but what I will say is I come from the music industry. my name's Stone online everywhere because one, it's my last name, but two, it's my brand in the house music scene, produce and DJ house music. And so kind of slowed down since being in the NFT space, but I still have a lot of amazing connections in this area for DJ producer talent. So, we're looking at setting something up that would be really fun, giving Roo holders exclusive access, discounted access, whatever it might be, to come out to this event. We're in very early stages of that. And yeah, like they're saying in chat, Drezzo's a holder of Roos, Jaws is a holder of Roos. Like, got some big name DJs who are in this project. So that's something that we actually, a community member here who followed me into NFTs from the music industry, he was working at event ops for Insomniac. And I'm assuming you know Insomniac, right?
Everybody's gonna be super disappointed in me. No, I don't think so.
So Insomniac's like the biggest player in the electronic music scene.
Okay.
They run all of the biggest festivals like EDC, and they've got one of the biggest record labels, which is called Insomniac Record Labels. Point being, they're pretty much responsible at the core of everything happening in the United States EDM scene. And this guy who is part of our community used to run event ops for them. And so he is working on, getting all the different costs and locations and all of that shit together for us right now. And this is the very first time that anybody's hearing that. So yeah, Rudy Roo to that.
Yeah. Right.
And then the next type of event, that's obviously more of like a fun thing. But our idea with in real life events is to be a medium for people to network and connect with each other on a more personal level. We have fostered a community that is very genuine and family-like and totally organic. There's never really been any paid promos or shillfluence or whatever, no pump and dumps. It's just been constant organic growth. And so we pride ourselves on the ability to have people come into the Discord, carry out conversations that have weight and, allow them to increase their knowledge on various topics. And so if we can kind of foster that by way of setting up events in the real world for them to all get together and, we set up a caterer, we set up, music, whatever it is, and just put them in a spot together, that's where the magic's going to happen. And so, still kind of a mix of both of those things. We're about to announce our next big partner. Kind of been teasing the community about this for a week, so sorry all of you listening right now. Not gonna say it still. We are about to launch our next biggest partner, who will also be at NFT NYC. And so as soon as we get that partnership locked in and the contract all sorted, then we're going to start planning for a co-hosted pop-up at NFT NYC, where we basically find an event that we can go in on together, do real giveaways with like iPads or gaming consoles and shit like that, to kind of take the retweet, like, follow meta out of the Twitterverse and into the real world. Bring a DJ,
Yeah, okay, hold on a second. So okay, so imagine you're somebody that goes to NFT NYC and you're going to these events, and let's say you're not the only event of the night, right? But then you do this draw, and so some schmuck has to carry like an Xbox One from parties around New York at NFT NYC. Like, I can just envision that shit and it'd be golden. But like, I mean, dude, that sounds super cool. Like, so for you, I mean, like, it's obvious that you care about like the IRL aspect of things. Is that something that you're wanting to, I don't know if like pride yourself in is the best term here, but is that something that you want to have like Roo Troop known for, the IRL events, or is it really just, hey, like occasionally we'll have these kind of events just for people, but it's not, our quote unquote kind of like more main focus?
Yeah, it's definitely second or third tier. Our core focus is the job stuff, the job marketplace, and carrying out the mission of allowing people to escape their 9-to-5s and monetize their passions. Because working, like, I come from inside sales and biz dev. I was working for a couple educational technology firms and SaaS firms, and it was a 9-to-5. I was really fucking good at my job, to just be blunt, and finished my work in 2 or 3 hours every day and crushed quotas. But that still felt more draining to my creativity and my desire to just work than working 12 or 13, 14-hour days in the NFT space. And so going through that has been really eye-opening for me and allowed me to really chase after my passions and utilize my time in a way better way, personally thinking. And so that's kind of where we're coming from, is we want to give everybody the opportunity to have that experience as well. So that's definitely, that takes precedent over anything else, is the job initiatives. Second would be education, both on NFT related things, with Kang Academy. That's our educational initiative that we're pushing out. But also on the fact about real tree kangaroo. We're really passionate about exposing the fact that these are real animals that exist and they're really fucking endangered. There's only 2,500 left in the world, literally less than exist in our collection as NFT tokens. So, you know, that's one of our big missions as well, is really finding ways that we can save them and help the environment and use NFTs for good. The third thing I would probably say is bridging the metaverse to the real world. And so this is another little bit of alpha, I guess, is like, we do have a plan to enter the metaverse in Q4 of this year, which you'll notice is not on our roadmap. And so I forgot to mention this earlier as we were going through the phases, is like all of that stuff that we have kicked off right now, the ball's rolling, like that's still only half of it. We're working on so much more. And so, you know, we're really looking to bridge real world and metaverse stuff in Q4. And I think that's where we're going to have some more fun with setting up events and, you know, also setting up events in metaverse. Such a buzzword, but like we actually
no, hey, listen, we love it. We're all about the metaverse here. So listen, we'll probably wrap up here in a minute, but for anyone that's tuned in that's really enjoyed kind of your perspective and what you guys are doing, is there any kind of final things you want to mention, just if they're thinking, hey, you know, I might want to pop in, any things they should be made aware of? Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Check.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Were you asking me or the chat?
Sorry, I was asking you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
No,
just
you're good. You're good. No worries at all. No, I appreciate. Like, I'm assuming that's you with the sub. I think you got distracted. You're like, hold on, let me.
I was trying to type Rudy Roo in the chat, and I was like, not listening. Sorry,
no, you're good. You're good. Please. Yeah, no, for sure. So I think we're gonna wrap up here shortly, if that's all right. But it was really fun chatting with you, and I think you've given some really interesting perspective on things. But for anyone that's been listening and thinking about potentially getting into the collection, what are some of the things that are kind of, you know, just kind of quick little TLDR things they should know, and then how to connect with you on socials?
Yeah. Thanks for that. So. Like we were talking about, the big ticket item with Roo Troop is the job marketplace, but we've already kicked off a bounty system that is up and running and proving the concept beautifully. So every day that you're not, you know, joining this community, you're missing opportunities at life-changing jobs in this space, if that's what you're here to do. So, you know, what I will say is, up until the point at which we release the job marketplace to the public, you are very early in the troop. We are looking at all sorts of metrics, you know, based on how long you've been with us, how many you hold, how active you are in the server, all sort of other things as well, and taking that information as we go, because we have a very specific go-to-market strategy that we're going to implement. And I'm not going to spell it out for anybody here. You guys have heard me say this before. Read in between the lines. If you are here in the troop before we get to the public launch, you're early. So if you haven't checked us out, hit us up on Twitter. Join the Discord. Our mods are fucking amazing. We've got like 12 around the clock. So please join in, ask questions, and Rudy fucking Roo.
Yo, Rudy Roo. Yo, listen, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure. Guys, if you want to go follow Roo Troop on Twitter, it's down there in the chat. But yo, let's connect again sometime soon and have you on, because this was a blast.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks so much for having us, man.
Yeah, 100%. All right, we'll chat soon. Peace.
Talk later. Bye-bye.
Yo, all right, there we go. Yo, shit.